Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of BMW Engines. So guys, before we go any further, I just want to thank you all for subscribing lately. As I've said to you before, there's probably 80% of the people that watch our channel have not yet subscribed. It is free to subscribe. All you got to do is just press the subscribe button and hit the notification bell and you'll be notified every time we do a video. So thanks again, guys. Note Paul there's a little bit of a smile coming out the side of his mouth. Oh,
there he is.
The other one. We've got a track day booked for the end of March, 25th of March.
Yeah.
And the idea of that is to go and meet Malcolm and pick up our new, hopefully, if we like it, we're going to pick up our new track car, the new BMW Engines project.
Like it though, aren't you? There's no question about it.
Yeah, but we're not going to tell them what it is yet, although they probably guessed.
What size tyres on the BMW?
So they're 15s.
These are 16s, you know?
No, they're not.
They're 16, look. No, I'm joking, mate.
If I weren't on camera...
Bit of comedy.
I think I'm going to like it.
I reckon you'll like it on
Isaac
these,
will like it.
You like it on these.
But this car that we're going to be picking up is it's the same size tyre as Paul's Fiesta.
Yes.
Which Paul's going to be doing a couple of track days this year, whether he likes it or not. And it's the same size tyre also as the kit car.
Did a grip test, mate.
So what we've done is we've gone out and bought 2 sets of your finest R888s.
Nice little track tyre, these.
Good track tyre.
Yeah.
So these can go on the kit car, Paul's Fiesta. Everyone's happy. What do you reckon, Isaac?
Like them.
You like them?
Yeah, very nice.
The only trouble is, as I say, the only trouble is with the kit car, it's a little bit weather dependent, isn't it?
Yeah,
unless you want to brave it and get the waterproofs out.
They're definitely a dry tyre, aren't they? Well, you can cut these though. You can cut these.
Can you?
Get tyre cut. You can cut more grooves in. You can cut a groove down there and extend these grooves into there. But
so the yokies that are on it will probably use as a bit of a wet weather. Maybe get another set of wheels and plonk these on, innit?
You're going to go faster than these, mate.
But yeah, quite excited to reveal the new car, really. And then we can sell Isaac the kit car. He'll be happy.
Do him a deal. We'll do a proper Mike Brewer. 8 grand, hold out your hand. Hold out your hand!
So what you up to, Paul?
Just checking tapping clearances on this cross flow before we get off the stand.
All good?
So I think we're going to be right, but I always like to double check.
Double checking the clearances.
Might be a little bit tight, so we're just going to adjust these clearances and they can come off the stand. You can put the flywheel and clutch on. Well, I'll put the flywheel and put the clutch on loosely.
Looks nice, mate.
Because you don't have a alignment tool for the clutch.
No.
But yeah, I don't know, it's pretty much done. I mean, this is, need to adjust that, obviously. This is sort of how it came to us, didn't it? So we had no.
Yeah, I think it was running before.
Yeah, we put new pistons in, didn't we?
Yeah.
This is one with the Acrolite pistons in originally. It was bought in.
Ah, that's the one. Yeah.
So we've bought it again.
Yeah, we've got about 10,000 running clearance, I think, originally.
Yeah, so we've got new pistons in. We bought it, obviously, the original rods, checked all clearances.
Should be a nice revvy motor, really, for one of these.
Yeah.
Being in a lightweight Mark 1 Escort, wide arch.
Well, it's got the big cam in, isn't it? I mean,
Your cup of tea, that, Paul.
Well, something like a bit peaky.
Yeah,
a nice little Escort thing.
Yeah, it should be nice.
Like a good Escort.
Yeah, it looks very smart, mate. Hope it goes as well as it looks.
Get that off the stand in a sec, and then maybe we'll get the Pinto over there on the...
Yeah, I can see you gagging to get in amongst that Pinto.
Well, more like a boat anchor, but...
Yeah, the boat anchor, yeah.
The other than that. And then we'll get that other crossflow off, pre-crossflow off the stand, and maybe put that Merc engine on it, so...
Yeah.
Get them on. And
we've got an M52 coming in.
Ooh.
Soon. Talking of BMWs, what have we found with the M20 now you've stripped it, mate? So the story is with this, apparently it overheated and the gentleman drove it till it stopped.
Well, if we cast our eyes over to this cylinder head, we can
see it's blew a big chunk out the gasket there.
Starting to blow a bit there as well.
So usually, if it's like this where it starts to go dark, that's obviously blowing past the gasket good and proper, but when it's a nice black spot like that, that has probably, if I'm guessing right, blew a big chunk out the gasket.
The gasket was all right, actually.
Was it really?
Well, I say it's all right. It wasn't smashed to pieces. Let's see if I can find the gasket.
But you see it's blowing all round there. See where it's black round the fire
Well, you can see where it's black on the gasket, but it hasn't actually blown the gasket out.
No. Usually when you see it on the gasket, it's pretty bad.
So I do wonder if it's...
We usually don't look at the gasket at all and just look at the head, but that's fairly nasty.
I do wonder if maybe just the head hasn't been torqued down properly, or it's overheated and the bolts have stretched potentially.
Maybe, yeah. And
bores...
as this overheating, obviously it's warped the top of the block.
Yeah, there's one of these bores you can feel like a ridge, not a ridge, but you can feel it's... Well, it's certainly they're certainly not going to go again.
Well, they've been sat first of all with water sitting in them, like on here. It's been sitting. It's got water ridges in there. That's probably what you can feel. But what do the pistons look like?
Some of them not very good. I mean, it's picked up a bit in skirts. That one's not actually as well. There you go.
It started to get a bit of heat seizure there. So this is one of the pistons out of there, and you can see where it started to heat seize and wipe the side there. It's not detonation, it's just where it's got hot. And you can see it's pinched the top ring in there. So that's going to be doing precisely nothing. It's going to be down on compression. And so conclusion on this one, Paul, it needs an overhaul.
Definitely. I mean,
rebore, reface the block. Crank looks pretty good, surprisingly enough, although the bearings look a bit tired. So
yeah, it's
maybe a grind
weird
on the crank. Overhaul the head, new guides, etc. Rocker shafts.
Yeah, we measured the crank and the crank measured up. We've just polished the journals. If not, we grind it.
All new bits.
I mean, none of the bearings have actually spun or really picked up badly. So
no.
Yeah, we may get away with just
the bearings.
New bearings and the polish.
Yeah, I'm just going to price it all up, see what parts are available, and go over to the customer and leave it in his court. Right, so Paul has got the Pinto on the engine crane, and I can see he's itching to get this thing apart to see what it is.
I think we'll wash it first.
I think it's because I mentioned that it was in a Mark II Escort, and that changes everything for this man.
I do like an Escort.
You do like an Escort.
I do like a Mark II.
So in the last video, Paul, I did say to everyone what I thought this was out of and the reason it was in, and it seems that I was lying.
No surprise there.
No. So, as you can see, this is a print out of the email that the guy that owns it, Sean, has sent me, just to correct me on the history of the vehicle. All right, so this apparently is a David Sutton built Escort Mark II that Sean has bought 2 of.
Right.
All right. And this is not the original engine that was in the car. Apparently the car had a BDA in it, so I expect that would be, what, an RS 1800?
BDA 600, wasn't it? So
1600? 1800?
Yeah, I guess so.
Whatever they were. And apparently the cars were over in South America, and not South Africa, like I said. Whether the engine went pop, I don't know, but they couldn't get the parts for the engine. Right. So they had this trick Pinto shipped over to put in its replacement. Well,
it'd be interesting to get in it. We'll find out when we get in it, won't we?
Yeah, that's it. So,
I mean, it depends when it was last built. If it was built in the 80s, and we don't know what's... I can't imagine it can have massively...
he said, Sean said he still has the original BDA, so it'd be quite nice to get that, really.
You can send it in, yeah.
Bought from Paraguay in South America to a rally team out there. Both cars completed the Trans Chaco Rally in the late 70s. Mean anything to you?
No, a bit before my time, that.
A bit before your time, and the early 80s. Still before your time?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
At some point, the BDA in one of the cars failed, so parts were impossible to source in South America, so a Pinto was sourced from Germany and shipped out in order to have the car continue the championship.
Well, I mean, it had a paddle clutch in it, so...
The engine was apparently a race spec and running twin 45 carbs. But he has no more information on the build. So there we go, corrected on that. So at least we know what we're dealing with now.
We need the carbs.
We need the carbs.
We need the carbs.
Yeah, be interesting to see what's inside.
It needs a restoration first, then it needs to be built.
That's it. So. Right, so thumbnail and title time, guys. This piston and rod here is out of the S54 BMW E46 M3, the one that we built getting on a year ago, I suppose, for the race car that is owned by a friend of mine. And this is the one that has blew a hole in the side of the piston there. And I bet most of you, I've had a few people message me saying, what is the update on the S54 engine, and what are you going to be doing about it? Now, this engine here has clearly had we come to the conclusion that it had been detonating, especially on number 3 and 4 piston. And that looks like pre-ignition there. It's melted a plug, melted a piece out of the piston, and it sort of got hot, and it's misshapen the piston on the skirt so much that the piston has been hit in the head. So it's one of those situations, guys, where the owner, Tom, is a friend of mine. Like Tom said, we are quite within our rights to say, you know, it's a race engine. It's one of those things. It's been detonating, blah, de, blah, de, blah. Go jog on, basically. But that's not the way we work. Sometimes we like to get to the bottom of these things. Although a lot of the time our time has to be paid for, we like to get to the bottom of these things sometimes, and at least see what the problem is, as long as our time is paid for. Now, the only problem is with this engine, we've got more in depth in the engine, and we have now got the cylinder block in the workshop, which we're going to be checking and what have you, and gone through. Now, the only problem we've got with this engine is we used a Wasner piston. As you can see, the design of the Wasner piston on the skirts there, not much support. The support legs here, you can see, are a lot narrower than it would be from the original. Now, the one problem we had was the original oil spray jets are at this angle, and they squirt oil at the base of the piston there to lubricate it, cool it. And the problem we got is the original jets are sort of dowelled into the block, so they can only go at one angle. But they were encroaching on one of these support vanes here. So we basically had to manipulate that squirter inwards to go in between the con rod and the piston. But as you can clearly see, we haven't got much room at all. Now, I remember obviously checking them, getting them where we can, but there has been an issue with this, and you can see there where the oil jet has been rubbing on the rods. Not sure how that has happened. My theory was we got some sort of rock, and because the oil jets are very close to that web and the rod, it may be hitting the rod like that. But it has unfortunately broke 2 of the jets off on numbers 3 and 4. I wouldn't say to the extent that it's going to lose oil pressure, but it's obviously may have some effect on the cooling of the piston, thus could be, you know, causing this issue. I don't know. I have my doubts on it, but basically I've had a chat with Tom. Obviously Tom's a friend of mine, and we want to get this car sorted for him and work with him. So we're going to be helping him with the labour, etc., and some parts. And the reason for that is we just want to help him out, and also because his boy is he's actually British champion. He won the championship last year for the British Talent Cup on the 250s motorcycle racing. Extraordinary talent, and this year he's going to be defending his championship and also doing the European Talent Cup, I do believe. Now, a few weeks ago when I spoke to Tom, this was all when we were sort of speaking about this engine really, he lost one of his major sponsors, so he's been looking for sponsorship, and it's all a bit of a last minute thing, you know, how sort of motor racing goes and sponsorship goes and all that. So I'm basically going to help him out with this engine, get it all going. One, to cheer him up, and two, I said you can really class it as some sponsorship for his boy, I suppose. So that's the reason we're doing it, guys. As I say, we don't normally warrant race engines, but it's one of those situations where did the oil jets contribute to anything like that? You know, you can't just turn your back on these things. So yeah, that's the reason, guys. Maybe in the next few weeks, we're going to be building this engine. We're going to build it up. I'm going to get a friend of mine called Dave Asprey from Asprey Motorworks. Dave is an E30 guru, and Dave's going to be coming over and probably spending the day with us. We'll maybe do a video, and he's going to be building this engine with me, just so we've got a second pair of eyes on this S54 and just make sure everything is hunky-dory. So yeah, that's what's going to happen, guys. As I say, in this game, sometimes you've got to just bite the bullet and spend a bit of time and sort of help people out, maybe, if it potentially could be your fault, don't know. So yeah, that's the deal with that, guys. Well, once again, guys, thanks ever so much for watching today's video. Until Wednesday's video, please comment down below on anything that you've seen today, and we'll see you then. Thanks a lot, guys.